I'm going to be showing you guys one of the things that I feel like is the most important, especially in like new construction, to get right, and that is the casing width needs to be full on all of your doors and all of your cased openings. What do I mean? I'm going to show you in this video how I got this cased opening to have a full profile on the left side and a full profile on the right side. If you get this wrong, it can be really bad and really an eyesore, and I've seen it so many times. So let's go through this. Don't make this mistake that I see a lot of people make, and I'll show you how you can avoid it.
And real quick, before we get into the video, I did want to mention, as I was looking for pictures to kind of show examples of how not to do it, I kept coming across Reddit threads where people were wondering, how do you fix this? And I had no idea this was like that big of an issue. I thought it was something that I kind of just noticed as like a kind of biased finish carpenter who doesn't like to see that like casing ripped down. But apparently this is happening a lot and it needs to stop. If you look over to the right there, how to trim this door 6 months ago, how do I trim this door 2 months ago, how do you trim the top of this door, finish carpenters, how would you trim this door, and this post itself, how to trim this door in odd placement. Now this particular picture right here looks like a remodel, so I'm not going to blame the builder, but most of the time the ones that I have seen have been blamed on the builder because it's like new construction and it's a cluster of doors or a door too close to an adjacent wall. So let's try to not let this happen anymore.
And this came about because I was in the architectural salvage yard hunting for stuff, as I usually do, and came across this piece. This is a sweet piece right here. This is all, it's like an antique white oak with the T&G back. It's got the cleats for the shelves. It's really nice profiles, little cork molding on each side of these stiles. I saw it and I knew what I was looking at. And it was listed there. The guy had it for 630 bucks. And I was like, that's a really good deal. You know how much the material would be way beyond that just to build this. And then my labor to do it, I was like, that's a pretty good deal. But I kind of haggled him. I was like, is that the best you can do? He said 575. I was shocked at that. Kind of told him, let me think about it. And then I just came back and I was like, I'll take it right now for 500. If you'll do 500, the van's here, let's load it up. And he's like, that's fine. So 500 bucks. I mean, the way furniture is, you can't get a nightstand for 500 bucks. It does need some work. I gotta build a cornice up there, and then it needs its apron down here. This was the apron piece, so I could probably get that made. He had that kind of remnant there. And it's got some minor wear, but it's all stuff I'm confident I can take care of. Here's what we need to do. We know we want our casing to be touching this cabinet, the back of our casing against that side. And I know my casing is 3.5 inches, but I know I have a 1/4 inch reveal on my jamb, so we're gonna go to 3 3/4. It's gonna be the same thing, of course. If I want my casing to touch that wall like I wanted to on the cabinet, I've got to pop that drywall off so that when I put my 3/4 inch Windsor board down, that's going to be my jamb leg. For my blocking, I have a piece of 2x6 that I ripped down to 5 inches, took a 1/2 inch off that, and then we build up with these little spacer blocks to our 2.5 inches on each side. So with these in, this is now acting like my framing and drywall on there, so that whenever my casing laps onto this, it has something to hit up against. Just want to make sure I'm flush on both sides, and I like that. And if I'm flush here up top, I just need to take my level, and as I come down, make sure that I'm plumb, and I know that I'm good. So I really just have to bump against that. So I like where this is, got it exactly where I want it. I just need to attach it to the wall. I know I've got framing back there, and I've got these 5-inch trim head screws. I'm gonna just sink them through here. This is a lot to go through, so these will be enough to grab it. Trim head screws aren't really like what you wanna use for framing, but Keep in mind, this is not really framing, this is just blocking to build me out. So think of these as just like long nails, I don't know. They're just gonna hold it. Nice. 51 1/4. 51 1/4. Now have all of my jamb parts cut. You can see a leg here, a header here. We got our 1/2 inch clearance up here. And before I put these in the jamb, I'm gonna just pre-assemble them, bring them closer towards me, and just shoot them from the top down. The edge of my top header board, I need to put my jamb vertical legs flush with the back of that. And that should give me the perfect reveal, which is why we marked all those lines earlier to kind of determine where this needs to end up. With the jamb now pre-assembled, we can set it up in position. I can take a 3.5 inch block, a spacer, and put it right here, and I can just put my shims perfectly lined up with that. So I just need to mark a 1/4 here in a couple of spots just to give me something to go off of. And I've got this piece of scrap base. So if I pull this over to my 1/4 marks, I know, since this represents my casing, when I put it in, it's gonna be flush against that cabinet and my proper reveal at a 1/4. So this space back here just needs to be shimmed out. And once I like it, I can just tack it in. And I'll do that same thing going down this whole leg. But before I get carried away, I need to check on the other side to make sure that I've got that same 1/4. So you can see I've got my 1/4. Also need to make sure I'm flush with my blocking, which is kind of representative of my wall in a typical situation. But I like that right there. A loose side over here, when I pull this up to it now, see we've got our same 1/4 and we're butted up against the wall. It's that same repetitive process all the way down each leg. And once I do that, I'll throw some casing up there. It's gonna look good. So there we go. We have our nice clean reveal on each side of our opening here. We've got a full profile of that 3.5 inch casing, which I think is just proper. Looks intentional, it is intentional, and the casing profile is not ripped down, which you see a lot of. I see that a lot on new construction, especially like where they try to squeeze all these areas in tight, like a bedroom, a bathroom, a little linen closet, and you've got like 3 or 4 doors all kind of meeting up in the same area. But this looks amazing. I got that third piece on there. You can see it's the beaded casing, the Greek molding, and then the back band. And I always put that little Greek piece on separately. So this looks good. I got that nice crispy line all the way down. I like that. And then when you come over here, this wall tapered out a little bit, so you can see I've got about 1/8 gap there. And that's fine. Paint grade to paint grade, I will be able to caulk this one. And since I'm gonna put wallpaper in this room eventually, I'm gonna have to smooth these walls out, so that'll float out and that'll look nice. Another thing I'm gonna have to do, you can see I'm too close here. I don't like that. This has gotta come this way, which I do have room for it. And I'm gonna make that a 2-gang anyways, because currently, this is the only light here, but I'm gonna drop 3 little puck lights in there before I do the crown, so they're concealed. And that'll be operated right here. So there we go. Pretty simple solution to get that full profile width on each side of your cased openings and doors. The doors can be a little bit trickier and they need to be corrected in framing, like by blocking out like what I did here and taking away like what I did with the drywall there. But obviously you'd want to do that correction before you even get to drywall, and you need to make sure it works with the rest of the layout of the house. But coming from a trim carpentry, finished carpenter guy, I mean, I think it really needs to happen. I know a lot of people, like builders, are probably not going to want to move framing just to get the full profile of the casing, but it's something you're going to walk by every day and see that ripped profile and just shake your head and wonder why you didn't correct this in the framing stage. Hopefully you found this video useful, and let's try to get all the door casings in America to be full width on both sides.